Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over another medium premium database question that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy about this and I'm glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any assistance. And so let me show you how I did it. This one's called Leetflex band accounts number 1747. So basically what they're asking you to do is to gather any of the account IDs without duplicates where they should be banned. So that means that, for example, if the IP addresses are separate and then those intervals overlap in any way. So if the interval is 1.5 and let's say it's 2.6, obviously there's an overlap. And then if the IP address is different, then we can say this is the bad account ID and include it in the result. Okay, so let's go ahead and gather all the account IDs and their login, logout, and IP address information. So default dict of type list, and for IL in enumerates log info. Let's call this account ID because we're going to use that as the key, right? So DL dot append. Let's call this start, end, and value. So log info login of I, info logouts of I, and then also the IP address of I. Okay, cool. So now we're going to append the start, end, and value. And because we want to see if there are any overlaps since we loop through all these sublists after we finish the dictionary, we're just going to sort this by the start and the end time, not by the value. So that's why we're not just calling .sort, we're specifying x0 for the start time and then x1. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's loop through our dictionary and let's print k and dk. Cool, so now we can just do the work that we need, which is just to go ahead and loop through this dictionary. So for j range, so let's just call this now to make it a little more pretty. For j and range length now, if now of j, so let's call this start and end again, is now j of 0 because that's how we defined it up here. And then now j of 1, and then the value is now j of -1. And then, so we have this sublist, so let's compare every other sublist that is different from this sublist. So for a and range length now, if j is not equal to a, it's not the same sublist repeated again. So we're looking at a different sublist. Then we can say if, let's call this the current start and the current end is now of a of 0 and now of a of 1, and then the current value is just now of a of -1. Okay, so we want to find if there are any overlaps. So basically what that means is the start time of this guy less than or equal to end, and this is bigger than this, or if the end time of this guy is bigger than or equal to start and the current start is less than the other end, right? So just sort of thinking of it like a bracket that you keep moving across. Are they touching at all? So just kind of make that picture, and you know, this guy, the start is touching it, but the end, so the start is over this guy and this is less than this, or let's make this longer to illustrate my point. The start of this guy is less than this end, and then this has to be less than this, then there are going to be overlaps. So if CS is bigger than or equal to, so if CS, the current start is, well, let's say the current end is bigger than or equal to the start, and also current start is less than the end, or, right, so current start is less than the end, or the current end is bigger than start, or end is bigger than current start, and so CE bigger than or equal to S, and CS less than E, or E is bigger than or equal to CS, and it's supposed to be S is less than CE. Okay, so just sort of other way around. Little bit of a brain twister, but if you draw this picture, it'll be pretty intuitive. And last but not least, if the value itself so is not equal to the value of CV, then last but not least, we can finally say that goes in our result. Okay, so val is now j -1. Cool. So now you can see 1 and 4, and we don't want duplicates, so we basically have our answer. So let's just say if k is not an answer, answer.append k, and then that's it. So now we just gather the results in a data frame, set account ID equal to this answer list, and then return the result, because this can be in any order. So let's run this, submit it, and there you go, passes all test cases. So again, I'm really glad that I was able to come up with my own solution to this question without any help and solve it on my own. And the runtime and memory are also really great, so I'm proud of that as well. That's not usually the case with solutions that I come up with by myself, so that's that. So thank you for watching. That's it for this video, and stay tuned for more.